So, I got some fun news. Thank you, social media and YouTube. Apparently, Velma Season 2 is coming out very soon if these rumors are to be believed. And before I go dive into a bottle of whatever my strongest whiskey is to repress all those thoughts about that show, and I feel it's only fair I give you a proper review of that show in its entirety and my extreme hatred towards it. Before I do that, I want to talk about something fun and something that I've been working on while I've been gone for a while, and that is going back through most of the Yakuza series, or as it's called now, Like a Dragon. And the reason why I bring that up is that I feel that that series does everything right, while Velma does everything wrong. And some could say it's not fair to compare a video game series to a TV show, especially one that has lasted for, dear Lord, almost 20 years now versus one season of 8 episodes. Don't care. Listen, the Yakuza games can be 8, 9, 10, 12, it depends how you roll with it, but still have a consistent legacy with it. I think you should be able to do the same with Scooby Doo in any of its iterations. But, yeah. So, finished Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, working on the Platinum Trophy. That's going to take a while. Not as long as Like a Dragon, but still in the process. And Infinite Wealth does what The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker could not do. It does what Indiana Jones' Dial of Destiny could not do. It does a lot what these Passing of the Torch movies and shows try to do now, but they don't have it. And the reason why they don't have it, and this goes back to the rumors and whatnot that was revolving around, say, Kathleen Kennedy and Star Wars, where they would literally have a picture of Luke Skywalker on a board and throw darts at his head, because that's a real thing that they said they did. It's There's no love in it. There's no respect for what came before. And yes, I'm sorry, if you're going to continue a legacy or pass the torch, there has to be both respect for what came before and what will follow after. And in that Infinite Wealth, as a standalone game, and I'm going to be fair, as a standalone game, has a lot of issues. But as continuing the legacy of Kazuma Kiryu, which started almost over 2 decades ago, and passing the torch to Ichiban Kasuga, they do a magnificent job of it. No one character shines more than the other. Of the main two characters, I should be. The predecessor and his apprentice, who will now become the new face of it, if the way it's set up is to be believed. And I'll be honest, this pays perfect respect to everything that Kazuma has gone through throughout the last 6 games, 7 if you count the prequel spin-off game that kind of came before that. It was called Gaiden, which, by the way, wait for it to go on sale. I can't really say buy it at full price, but it definitely is worth playing, just so you can see some of Kazuma's new allies, as it would be, and see what he's gone through since he gave up his life to basically Japan CIA to be working with them behind the scenes. But this game pays perfect respect to everything he's done and leads over to Ichiban, and the story actually is a very interesting mirror of what Kazuma did all those years ago, and the way they handle it is very well. So in the original game, and I'm talking about the first one, not Zero, but in the actual first game, play Zero first though, but in the first game, the entire premise is Kazuma gets out of jail for a murder he didn't commit to cover for his brother, and in the time, the woman he's loved is gone. She vanished. No one knows where she is, but they want her because she stole 4 billion yen, which is like $40 million, or no, it was 40 billion yen, so $400 million, still a lot of money. And there's a girl involved named Haruka, and Kazuma takes her as a pseudo guardian, and over the series, he adopts her along with a bunch of other kids at an orphanage. He raises her, he meets new friends, some friends die along the way. He basically becomes a father figure to the guy whose father was killed by his brother. His arch rival becomes his best friend. It's a long, drawn-out process over 6 games of allies and friends alike, and all of them get due respect in this game. Throughout his memories and moments of flashback, and even just coming back to talk about him with Date, who's his best friend, detective friend, we see that everything he's done has impacted people in some way. And even though he's gone, all of his family and friends still remember him, and they carry on that spirit, the will of the dragon, as it would be. which is apropos because Kazuma is, well, the Dragon of Dojima. And why am I bringing that up so much? Because it mirrors what happens here, where he tries to, because he's still working for the government, he's got cancer, he's on his last leg. Even throughout the game, you can't play as him sometimes because he's legitimately dying of cancer. So, I don't mean to make a joke of that, but it's real. So, because of that, he's unable to fulfill the mission, and the mission in this case is trying to find Ichiban, the new main protagonist's mother, and a missing girl that she sort of adopts as well, takes care of, and Kazuma sees a lot of Haruka in her because of the situation, and he wants so desperately to help. He wants to stay and fight with Ichiban and their allies, and he really wants to be the dragon that he was, but he can't. He's old, and he's been through so much. The dude has been shot and stabbed, mauled by tigers, mauled by alligators. Like, it's ridiculous how much this guy has been through. Tortured for days by the triads. Freaking, I think he got bit by a shark at one point too. So he's been through a lot. His body's like at its limit. He's gassed himself out. So even though it pains him, he trusts the rest of this mission to Ichiban, and it's a legitimate passing of the torch where they're both in Hawaii at this moment, where the half the game takes place. Half takes place in Hawaii, half takes place in Japan. And Kazuma legitimately has to pass the torch on to Ichiban because he has to leave because he can't deal with this anymore. He's too tired. He's got to go back to Japan. He's got to get recovery. And even one of Ichiban's friends, who's a nurse, goes back with him to keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't die and to also help him make a bucket list of all things, which got me thinking as I got older, I probably should make a bucket list of things I want to do. Not like a morbid thing, but, it's good for you to think of what things you want to do should you ever have no other choice to do. What things would you want to do that you want to make sure you could pass on or find peace with in case the worst should ever happen? And it's treated very respectfully. It is not just one joke gag, even though Kazuma may make a joke about certain issues or situations he dealt with. It's real. But for every bit of him dealing with the past, you have Ichiban dealing with the future. And consistently realizing that Kazuma left everything to him. He has to finish this mission. And Ichiban, beyond just Kazuma backing him up, he also wants to, of course, find his mother. He wants to protect this girl. He wants to deal with this very weird, I guess, mafia, Cuban-style mafia in Hawaii or Hispanic, either way. The Betacudas, who are pretty nasty. This game does not hold back in the violence department, and people will die. It's a pretty messed up scene. But over the time, we still see Ichiban's old friends getting together to try to help them along the way. And, I mean, it is a turn-based strategy game of sorts, so you gotta take with it what you can. But the side missions are really good. The big theme about this game is live in the moment and acknowledge the past. There are so many side quests that deal with that, and one of the best ones is we come across this old guy very early on. He's getting some shaved ice from an ice cream machine, and he's like, okay, hold on. He tosses it in the air, and it doesn't work. He wants it to snow. We just keep finding this guy, and he wants it to snow. And the whole reason is he wants it to snow one more time so that way his wife, who's dying, can see the snow one more time like they did back in Japan, and, so she can go in peace. Like, that's his, because she doesn't have that much time left. And ironically, somebody Ichiban meets, who was from the last game and also from the other games dealing with Kazuma, who was his, I'll say the surprise because it's great, but they inadvertently do help them out, and the way they get the snow is kind of hilarious. But they're on top of the roof, literally just taking shovels of this stuff and chucking it down, and they start off with a joke, but it transitions, like, this is a spur of the moment here. We're men. We got to help these people out. We got to be good, upstanding citizens. We got to help people. And they were helping them. But at the same time, when they're doing something humorous, it transitions to the old man and his wife. And spoiler for the ending of the quest, but I mean, you could probably guess what's coming. They have a very good, heartfelt moment. And it felt real. It wasn't forced. It was like, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. And yes, for you Helluva Boss fans, I will be dealing with that later. But no. It's legitimately just them talking to each other like humans, and just her reminiscing on the past, and her seeing it snow, and him just being happy that he could be with her one last time and help his wife go on to the next life. And even when it's done and these guys are up on the roof, basically buck naked, again, it'll make sense. You think this would be played for laughs, but it's really not because they acknowledge that what just happened was something that's going to happen to all of us. At the end of the day, we only get one life to go around it, and you want to make it count, both for the yourself, but for the people around you. At no point in time does Ichiban or Kazuma, even though they're two completely different style personalities, you got the stern former Yakuza guy who literally was going to be like a head member. He's known as the Dragon because he's so strong and powerful, and then you got Ichiban, who's basically a 40-some-year-old gamer who is trying to help people in his own way, but he doesn't flex the muscles. Nobody looks at this guy and thinks, oh, no, this dude could bench press a bus. No one thinks that he's the guy, but he is. Okay, he can't bench press a bus, but he's still pretty strong. Like, the dude, when he takes his shirt off, he's freaking ripped like Kazuma is. But it's that laid-back attitude of his that most people find appealing. Where Kazuma represented the one side of masculinity of the strong, stoic type that, does allow his feelings to affect him, but at the same time, he tries to be that rock for everybody to, brace up upon. Ichiban represents the other aspect of it, where basically you want to be a good person to all, even going so far that people would normally not go. Which in Ichiban's case is he's helping people out, but he's not just giving them handouts. He's helping old Yakuza members find new jobs, but he's teaching them, no, you come to me, you have to be this way, you have to act this way, you have to be this upstanding member so I can help you get a job. It's really, really good. And it's nice to see these two characters both respect each other and both symbolically and almost literally pass the torch from one to the other. And in the end, we do see Kazuma's entire life did have an impact, and all the decisions he did and didn't make come back to haunt him. The biggest regret is in the end of the first game when he could have been the head of the Tojo clan of the Yakuzas. What if he didn't? Well, he didn't, but what if he did? Could he have kept it together? Could he have reformed the organization? Could he have stopped all these bad things that happened in the other games from happening to him? Could he have stopped the Omi invasion? Could he have stopped the dissolution? Could he have actually helped all of the Yakuza members to become upstanding members of society, which is what the other heads wanted? And honestly, it's a pretty sad thought when you think about it, because he clearly wants to have done well, and now he's second guessing, was his life worth it? Did it have an impact? Once he's gone, will the people he care about actually, remember him? And I do recommend this. I normally don't tell people how to play games, but throughout the game, Kazuma section, because you get Kazuma and Ichiban, you got two storylines going eventually. You do end up in Japan, and you do end up with Date, Kazuma's old friend, coming along, and he's trying to help him reconnect with his old friends, even though he literally can't because they think he's dead by the CIA. Long story. So he helps them out, and he hears what their lives have been like when he's no longer there, and how they've improved, how they've done all these great things, and some figure it out, kinda, but they don't just blab because they know, no, we know you're hiding for a reason. Just know we're waiting for you when you come back. Even his old friends that he goes to meet, after the government basically tells him to stop, he finally gets to see Haruka again, which is basically his daughter, and her son, which is Kazuma's grandson that you take care of in the 6th game. Long story. And you can see his emotion break because he wants to go see her again. He wants to talk to her again. He wants to be part of her and her son's life. He wants to be there for them, but he can't because literally if he does, the government is going to kill everybody. This is what it is. And even though he doesn't have this much time left, and really what are they going to do? Oh, you're going to kill me? Oh, I'm going to die in like 2 months here. What are you going to do? But he still can't do it. And it shows a lot of great strength because you as the player are screaming to this guy what you want him to do, what you would probably do. But at the same time, you know what he's doing is the right choice. You know he has to handle it a certain way. Ichiban wouldn't handle it that way. He would rush in, guns blazing. He wouldn't let anybody stop him. And that might change as the story goes on. Ichiban doesn't have a Haruka, a girl to take care of, or a son to take care of, or whichever. He doesn't have a girl. He may or may not have a girlfriend. I don't know how that ending actually rolls, but he did kind of screw up because he's an idiot, and I felt really, really bad, especially on that horrible first date. I felt really bad. But still, you don't know where his story's going to go. And to be fair, the dude's 46. It's not like, or 44, I believe, at the end of the game. So, he still has a little bit of time left. But I'm curious where this story's going to go and continue on his tale. Because at the end of the day, the Like a Dragon series does keep progressing. It never stops. Time moves on in that game the same way it moves on in our world. So there's never any chance to go back. There's not going to be some time travel and restart the whole thing. And they shouldn't. The reason why comics lasted so long for what it was until the New 52 and the Ultimate Universe and all this stupid stuff Marvel and DC did, they basically looked at their lineage, saw what happened, and thought it was too hard to continue. I'm sorry, that's what it is, and I'm calling it right now. You can't just forget everything that happens. You can't just pretend that it all didn't matter and just restart and reboot. And that's where this is. Despite everything that's happened throughout the entirety of the Like a Dragon franchise, you've had spin-off games, you've had alternate timeline games where like you're dealing with them in the Sengoku Jidai period, or dealing with the Restoration movement, you're dealing with a couple of detectives trying to solve a few mysteries on a side and Judgment. There's these other games, but it still continues. It's not like, oh, in this game we're going to reset everything that happened in this. No, you have to keep it going. It's the same reason why I love the Legends of Heroes franchise so much, is that it started with Trails in the Sky, and it's continued into Trails of Reverie, with the new one coming out, Trails into Daybreak, I believe is what it's called, coming soon. And the story still continues. I don't want it to reset, because those stories have already been told. And they've been told with the same respect and reverence that the new ones should give to them. You can't change the past. You can only reflect upon it, see what it is, and move with it. And Infinite Wealth does a good job of that. Now, I can tell you about the gameplay and everything. It's turn-based strategy. If you're not going to like that, sorry. A lot of wacky, fun mini-games, like Saints Row to a degree. You're not doing anything, horrible, but you're like going on the bus and taking pictures of weird people, just to call it what it is. You're going around playing Pokemon, where some of the enemies you fight can now become your allies and use them like Pokemon. It's a weird thing. You got a random baby crying out. See, it's... I don't know if you guys picked up on that, but yeah, so you have all these fun little mini games. You also have a Animal Farm type situation, where you got like an island you got to build up. It's a hotel, and you taking out the land, you're building all this stuff, you're bringing in people for tourism, and throughout it actually makes you a little bit stronger in the game as well. So all the games you play, none of it is wasted, and you can lose yourself for hours and hours in this game of fun. And it's almost bad because you want to keep going in these side stories and whatnot, but then you're like, I want to get back to the main quest. I want to see what's happening with Nanba. I want to see what's happening with Adachi or Sasako. Or, is Kazuma going to be able to breathe again? This is the kind of important things we got to know. Not, yep, no, oh man, no, you're dead. Oh man, he died. And then you got to move on from that. And this is for me. I play games mostly for the story. I love turn-based strategy, don't get me wrong, but I also will take a good action RPG if the story's actually good and the characters are good. And the Like a Dragons franchise has made some great characters, and I would be here for hours if I named them all. But Infinite Wealth is the culmination of everything that is. Now, they do something at the end that I'm not a fan of. You made me cry, game. You made me legitimately shed tears, and then you do something that I am not a fan of, but I am a fan of. You let the story end. Let it end there. But, continue with the Ichiban story. But fact is, this game does continue the legacy of Kazuma Kiryu, and it does pass it on, probably like I've said numerous times. And that's why I believe this game is good. I cannot recommend it if you haven't played the others, sadly. I really can't. And that's the catch-22 with something like this. The last game, Like a Dragon, Yakuza 7, Like a Dragon as it's literally called, you could play that one straight up. I mean, it's Game 7, but it's mostly all about Ichiban You get like a few sprinkle of characters from the other games that don't make any sense to you unless you know who they are. And then if you play the other games, you'll know who they are. But seriously, start with Yakuza 0 and work your way through. You'll get hours out of it. I remember they were free for a little bit on Xbox Live with Game Pass. There was a whole bunch of sales going on them. I managed to actually get 3, 4, and 5 all on my PlayStation for like $8 or $10, whatever. And it's the massive versions of it, so they are worth playing. I really do recommend it. So yeah, I mean it. I could go on for hours about the characters and everything, but I think you get the idea. This is a strong game, definitely worth playing. If you love turn-based strategy, if you love story, if you love characters, this is it. This is legitimately what respect looks like. Okay, not to the gamers, because I know people are going to mention in the comment section, yes, that stupid thing they did when you had to pay extra for New Game Plus was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Outside of everything with Battlefront 2. That was pretty bad too. But yeah, this was stupid. Game industries, quick tangent here. Game industries, fix your stuff. I am getting sick and tired of you nickel and diming everything out of us. It's ridiculous. Because I know what it is. You're legitimately taking stuff that you have for the game and like, oh, they'll pay extra for this. Let's take it out of the game. Let's take characters out of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Oh, they're behind paywall and DLC. Buy the season pass. Oh, you want actual, fatalities? Oh, pay $3 and you'll get one fatality. It's stupid. It's nickel and dime and it's ridiculous. And I hope all that stuff fails as bad as that Skull and Bones game failed. Quadruple A. Just stands for 4 levels of ass. Back to this though, it was really good. But yeah. So that's why I've been gone. I've been playing this game a lot. It's been a blast, leveling up all the classes and everything. I highly recommend it. I don't want to talk about Velma, but I have to, for it's coming soon. And for those who have forgotten or thought maybe it's not that bad, maybe the hype wasn't that bad, I'll give it a don't. Tune in next time for when you will see me rage to a level I will probably need a lot of anger pills to help me with. Later.